REIKI. You also have the healing touch. You have other modalities that, yeah, I see. Oh, I see. There you go. And so those modality help because you are made of energy and frequency. And so the Hawaiian principle, the Huna, does confirm this. Even though Reiki is Japanese, technically, right? It doesn't matter. They all unite each other and work together. The sixth principle is the principle of mana. Your power comes from within you, and it's up to you to, first of all, how do you use it? And second of all, how do you renew it? And you can renew it through meditation. And you're going to hear me say this over and over and over again. Meditation is essential. You must meditate every day. Sounds very boring at first, but if you understand the importance of meditation, how it is that you change your beliefs, how you hold your beliefs, how you feed that energy through you, how you replenish the energy that you are required in order for you to feel complete and powered and moving through, meditation is a key way to do this, right? Then there's also food. What kind of food are you putting inside your body? Because that makes a huge difference. If you have a car, we'll take easy examples that everybody pretty much can relate to. If you have a car and you're putting water inside of it, your car's going to go, right? It needs gas. In the same way, your body needs something that fuels it. And so eating something like filling yourself with junk food and things that is full of condiments and chemicals, and you're feeding nothing nutritional to your body, so your body can't function with that. Certain things have higher vibrations than others. Fruits and vegetables have high vibration value. Coke, Pepsi, and anything that comes wrapped in plastic and can sit on a shelf for 3 years is got no vibration at all. As you're putting those things inside of you, what happens is it's affecting your vibrational body. And so you're lowering your vibration. You want to raise your vibration, then eat good food. And it doesn't have to be. I have someone said to me, bio food is super expensive. It's true. But I didn't say bio food. I said just even if you just switch from crappy food to actual fruit and vegetables, already there, your body will feel a difference. If you're lucky enough that you can grow your own food, well, by all means, yeah, sure, go ahead. But it's not within everybody's realm all the time, right? Yes, real food costs more money, but you eat a lot less real food than you eat junk food. So in the end, you will spend the same amount of money and you'll be much more healthier because of that. Another one is your feelings. What are you doing with your feelings? Are you living in fear all the time? Are you sad all the time? What kind of emotion are you filtering through your body all the time? Because remember, right, little J here, our superhero, Super J has a physical body that needs some food, but he has also a mental body that needs rest, that needs stimulation, and needs creativity. And his emotional body needs a little drain to get rid of the emotion that he doesn't want and doesn't serve him anymore. You understand? It's all of your bodies that need to be cared for, and your spiritual body needs the straight mana. The name for the energy in Hawaiian is Ha. In Chinese, it's Chi. In Japanese, it's Ki. For the Native American, it's Orende. Right? It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Again, every single culture has a name for it. And that is the food for your spiritual body. And pretty much the only way to get it inside your body is to either meditate, learn energy work, or go see an energy worker to put it inside of you. But that's not lifelong sustaining. This is why I always encourage people, rather than coming to see me to get a healing session on you, come and take a class and learn how to do this for yourself. And then teach it to your children. I mean, your cousins, your aunts, your everybody. Make that ripple grow inside your community. Teach them how to eat. All their bodies. Everything gets fed. All right. And then finally, the seventh principle is called Pono. I know some of you know where this is going. The seventh principle means that you measure the efficiency by the truth. Okay? So I'm taking the example of cancer. There's research out there that says chemotherapy works. There's also research out there that says radiation works. But there's also research out there that say changing your food, I couldn't find the actual word for this, but changing your habits of eating different foods, using acupuncture, using supplements also works. And so someone comes to me and like, so what should I believe? I said, I don't know. You can believe any of those. But whatever it is you believe is what's going to happen. If you actually believe that you don't need radiation and you don't need chemo, and all you need to do is more meditation and more bringing more hot energy into your body, then that's what will work for you. But you have to believe it, right? But if you actually believe it, that's what's going to happen. For the same way, I believe I'm not tired. And anybody who knows me well knows I'm never tired. They're like, oh, you're like the energized body man. I'm just not. Because I refuse to have this belief. I am also never sick. Why is that? Because I listen to my body when it speaks to me, and I make the course correction as needed. So my body doesn't need to be sick. Was it always like that? No. Did I learn to change my belief? Yes. Why am I somehow, for some of you may think I'm wasting my time trying to do all this, videos and everything to talk about these things. It's because I turned my life around. I completely spinned it on itself. I completely, flip-jacked it and hiked it up, and I live on the top of a mountain now. But only because I've done this. I've done this work and I've done those changes. And those changes work. So it's within all of your power to do this. You don't need to be an expert, you don't need to be a savant, you don't need to read a million books. You just need to pick one method, carry this method through, and live this new way of living. This is a way of life. It's not just for a week or a weekend, obviously. If you're deciding you're changing, then you have to change wholeheartedly. Your whole life has to change. But as you're making these changes will stay. You can go through these 7 principles with anything, for money, for love, for health. So I have an example for health. Okay, this is how it would work. So your first principle would be, my health is what I believe it to be, and therefore I am healthy. The second principle is that there's no limit. There's no limit to my health. It is infinite and unlimited, which is why I don't get sick and I don't get tired, because I'm perfectly healthy and I take the time to energize every morning, and I know that I'm lined up, right? The third principle is my health follows my focus, and I keep my focus on health. And so like I explained, I don't say, oh, I'm coming down with something. I don't go there. I'm always healthy. I refuse to even entertain the idea that I'm going to get sick. For the fourth principle, which is the power is in you to make this actually happen, is I act for my health now, here and now. I am healthy. Now this is the step this is where I say it's not magic, because you do have to line up your actions with your beliefs. You can go and get drunk in a pub and wake up the next day, and then you're wondering why you have a huge hangover. I'm going to say, okay, well, you may have some beliefs, but you're not acting in accordance to your belief. Getting drunk and partying all night and not getting any rest and sleep for your physical body is not going to make you healthy. So you have to, at a certain point, line up your beliefs with your actions. Otherwise, then obviously it's not going to work. Okay, so if you're wondering why the changes that I'm trying to do are not being put in place, why is it not sticking? Well, that could be one of the reasons, right? you're not acting for what you're wanting. Then we go to the aloha principle, and as I love my health and I'm happy and blessed because it teaches me when I focus that I'm misaligned, and I listen and I heal quickly with ease. Right? Like I said, I do get a sniffle once in a while. I do get a sneeze here and there. But it just tells me, okay, you need a little nap now, or you need to get a rest, or it's time for you to have some fun. And I tend to work 12-hour, 14-hour days easily. So this is a little remind me that says, go for a walk right now. Call a friend. Take a break. Breathe. And I listen, right? So my focus is important. I have to focus on many things, right? All right. And then we go to my mana. And so what do I do my power? Well, because my power resides in me, it is, it's what I believe will help my health that will actually help me. So if I believe that eating correctly helps me, as long as I eat correctly, I'll stay healthy. If I believe that I need 8 cups of water a day, and I believe that, when I don't have my 8 cups of water a day, I feel it, right? Because those are my beliefs. My beliefs are anchored really strong inside of me. If you're not believing something, then it won't apply to you. And this is why it's important, because the Pono principle is how you measure, are my beliefs actually working for me? Or is there an hidden belief inside of me that I'm not aware about? So for example, that if the outcome is not what you want, for example, I have the belief I'm healthy, and yet I'm still sick, I have to ask myself, why is there no harmony between my subconscious and my conscious? My conscious says I'm healthy, but my subconscious, my emotional body doesn't line up. This is why this is so important, okay? You don't have just a physical body. You have a higher self, you have a physical body, an emotional body, and a mental body. They all have to line up as a straight line. If there's a disalignment, that's when your truth doesn't come true, okay? So, you might need to then use the following methods to line up those beliefs. See, I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I actually have the correction for you. And one of those is the Psyche method, which is awesome. But it's also the Ho'oponopono. Oh, Ho'oponopono. It's a mouthful sometimes. The Ho'oponopono is really easy. You have to say these lines. The traditional Hawaiian healing method only has 4, which is I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. However, when I learned this method from, I went through a 6 weeks program for pain management, and the psychologist there said, I like to say, please forgive me, I forgive you. Actually say, I forgive you. Why? We'll see why. There's a series, and it has to be said in this fashion, right? If you start mixing them up, what it does is that it affects the way you line up those bodies here, okay? So the first one, I love you, is the law of love. It raises your vibration, like I said before, with the Aloha principle, but it also helps you have some detachment into, instead of being angry at it, and we're talking about, let's say, your body, right? So women typically will look in the mirror and literally hate parts of their body. And I'm sure some men do too as well, right? We're saying women, but you're gonna gel it, really. It doesn't matter how old you are, no matter if you're a man or a woman, you hate a part of your body. And the more you hate this part of your body, the more you're lowering the vibration of this part of your body, and the more this part of your body disintegrates. So for example, if you have a big stomach, and you don't like your stomach, and then after a year of hating your stomach, you start developing irritable bowel syndrome, and then you hate your irritable bowel syndrome, and it develops into Crohn's disease, and because you now hate your Crohn's disease, you despise it, and then something happens, and it just goes on this way, right? You need to go back to the very beginning. This all started because you didn't like your stomach or your abdomen. But you put so much hatred into it that it develops a sickness. This is how this works, right? And so by saying I love you, you're now changing the vibration. Now, do you understand, if you've hated some parts of you for 10 years, this is going to take a little doing. Yeah? You're going to need to say this a lot more than once. But you start with I love you, which is a simple line, easy to remember. Yeah? Then the second one, I'm sorry, is the law of responsibility. Now, this is, for a lot of people, the toughest one to understand. And I really hope that we can get across this today for all of you. Remember, you live in the world you created. Therefore, whatever's happened to you in your life, you created. Now, you're going to say, well, I didn't want to be physically abused as a child. I understand that. But you had beliefs that you deserved it, that it was part of life, that that's the way it was. And if you really start talking to people, they're going to say, well, that is the way it was. Right, and because you believe that, it happened. But unfortunately, nobody took the time when we were 3, 4, 5 years old to tell us, it doesn't matter where you live, you can have the most loving, fulfilling life. It doesn't matter who your parents are, it doesn't matter how much money they have, you can have the most fulfilling life. Because a neighbor will take care of you, because a friend will invite you over for dinner, for lunch every day, because you can change your reality. And so you must apologize. I'm sorry. To yourself. You're not saying this to anybody else. This has nothing to do with anybody else. This is a self-healing process. And if you think that you deserve an apology, you need to go and look at that relationship and ask yourself, how did I make this happen? Right? And it's hard. Okay? I was married for 6 years, and I got divorced, and I had to take responsibility for my role in this marriage and this divorce. And I didn't want to. You know? I was like, but I did everything that I thought I did. But I also didn't think that this marriage was going to be any better than it was. And I also believed. And then when I started looking at my beliefs, I made my marriage mediocre. I made that happen for myself. So now, you have to take responsibility for what's happened. If someone is chronically sick, they're going to say, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to say, listen, you've been drilled in your beliefs that if you're sick, you have to mask your symptoms, right? You're sick, you can't stop, take a pill. So you ignore your body. And then you're sick some more, take more pills, right? Because that is what our medical system encourages us to do. And we mask more symptoms. And then more symptoms pop up somewhere else to try and warn us something serious has gone on. You're ignoring your emotional body, you're ignoring your mental body, but we're not paying attention to all that because we must forge on, and we must make money, and we must show up for work, and we don't have time for this, and we take more pills. Until eventually we burn out, or we develop a huge sickness and a huge problem. And then we're like, well, how did I create this? You created it by ignoring the first initial message. Mm-hmm. And therefore, that's where you take responsibility and say, I'm sorry. Okay? This isn't a blame game. But this is, you have to understand, is because if the problem is big, it's because you ignored it for a long time. Because you masked it for a long time. Did you want that to happen? No, that's just the way our society has trained us to act. Right? Hawaiian people are training their little ones differently. But we have to take responsibility and say to ourselves, I'm sorry. Not to anybody else. So I'll give you an example. You're at work, you're dealing with a coworker, and you're getting this anxiety build up inside of you, right? And you're like, oh, that person, right? Now stop and go, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I forgive you, thank you. You're not saying that to her, you're saying that to you. I love you because you're really upset right now and you need a little bit of love. Imagine that if you could go in the bathroom and look in a mirror, and you could actually hug that person and say, I love you. And I'm sorry you're feeling so upset. Please forgive me for getting you this upset. And I, you know, the mirror says to you, I do forgive you. Okay, we're good. Thank you. This is how this works. Okay, you're saying this to yourself, for yourself. Because this relationship is there to show you something. Is it there to show you that she kind of caught you doing something you weren't supposed to do? She reminds you that you could put in a better effort, or she shows you that you could have been a little nicer to someone this morning. And you know, if you don't like someone, or if you really like someone, it's because they're showing you two things. They're showing you the best and the worst of you. And if you can see that and learn the lesson behind it, you can change. And then your world changes. So then we go to the law of forgiveness. Please forgive me. The law of forgiveness is teaching you that whatever happened was based on your old beliefs. And you have to let it go. Because if you're trying to live new beliefs now, you have to let go of the old ones. And you also have to let go of the shame and the guilt that you may associate with that. I know some people beat themselves up with, you know, oh, I shouldn't have drank and my drinking caused problems, or I shouldn't have done drugs. Okay, all right. Are you doing those now? No, I quit. Okay, then quit those thoughts as well. You have to live in the now. And this is what please forgive me, I forgive you means. It means that right here, right now, I changed my behavior, I changed my beliefs, I act, think, and speak differently. I'm a different person. And this person desires to be loved. This person deserves forgiveness. And this person deserves to live right here, right now, in joy and happiness. And so we then enter the thank you, which is the law of gratitude. Gratitude is the closest thing you can find to love. So if you find it hard to love, you should find it easy and get into the habit of being grateful. Because that's what's going to get you the closest to what love actually feels like. If you're saying to me, I don't know what love feels like, and some people, you know, they do feel that way, get into a feeling of gratitude, real gratitude. And the list I asked you to do at the beginning of this talk is essential, right? Go look at everything you actually do have and be grateful for all that's present in your life. And not just the physical things, but all of the other, the people, even the animals, you know, they are not less than humans. And for some of us, they're all we have. And they're essential to our healing and our progressing. I know the story of a man who actually came out of alcoholism because he found a little kitten he lived in a box in an alley. And this little kitten came in his box. And he realized that this little kitten was going to die because, you know, I don't know, it was way too young. It still needed milk. And so he started by getting coffees to have the creams, to feed the creams to the little kitten. And he realized that he needed to buy a lot of coffee, so he stopped buying alcohol, and that's how he dried up, and that's how he got off the street. And that kitten saved his life, where no humans could. No humans could reach him where he was, but that kitten could. So don't undermine the gratitude for all of the beings in our lives. And sometimes we're sad, we sit in the park and we hear a bird sing. And it elevates our heart, and it gets us back in our focus of the now. Right? Gets us out of our spiraling, oh, woe is me, and life is so hard. And then you hear the bird, and it makes you look up, and you're like, wow, that was beautiful. You know? Those things, if you think they're coincidences, I can assure you they are not. There are no coincidences. And if a human can't be there to pick you up, something else will. It could be a flower. Right? It could be anything. So you must start looking around you and start becoming more aware of what isn't around me. What have I created? Starting by your home house, your own bedroom. What does your house look like? What does your bedroom look like? When you go to bed at night, do you feel good? Or you just feel it's a long list of to-do things that you're looking around. And it's making you depressed. Okay, well, the first day off you have, scratch everything you had to do and take care of that. Clean up your house, clean up your bedroom, declutter your stuff. If you go to work, arrive half an hour early and declutter your desk. Organize it better. See through that you can actually feel good while you're there working on something. If anybody says, well, you have a lot of work, why do you just working on this? It's because I can only work on one thing at a time. So there's no need for my desk to have a pile of stuff on it to prove to everyone I'm busy. I just need to say, this is what I'm working on right now. If you want to clear your emotional body and your mental body, you do it through your physical body. If the space that your physical body occupies, it is also the space your mental body occupies and your emotional body occupies. They're all one and the same. So if you want to feel all lined up, you have to line up with all of those things together and honor all of those things in your life, in your work, in your relationship. If you have a relationship that you don't feel are supportive or being any good to you or dragging you down, maybe it's time to let them go. And it's okay. My son is 24 and he's like, yeah, but you know, I've had these friends since high school, and I'm like, I understand that, but if you'd meet that person today, would you be friends with them? And the answer is like, well, no, of course, okay, well, stop right there. You have now changed. And I'm not saying my son is better than the other one. I'm just saying now you're different, you want different things, you're going in different directions, and you need to let go so that in your new direction you find people who are like you, are thinking the same as you, and are lining up with your new priorities and can help you get there faster. And they might be your friend for an entire lifetime, and then sometimes they're just your friends for a short time. And that's okay. And then sometimes they reappear in your life after a decade. You're like, hey, because they looped and they joined us again. You know, and it's okay. But be conscious of what do you need right now, and is that what you're keeping around you? Or are you keeping everything that's not serving you, and then you're wondering why you feel like you're jumping through hurdles every moment of the day, and it always seems to be so arduous and complicated. Okay? Now, this method is to be, I use this personally whenever I feel upset, whenever I'm driving. I don't have to be upset anymore. See, I've done this seriously, I must have done this at least 10,000 times now. But now when I do it, I'll do it while I'm waiting in line. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I forgive you, thank you. In my head, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I forgive you, thank you. And then it's funny because everybody around me seems to relax a little bit more, everybody smiles a little bit more, and my environment is rippling because my vibration is higher up. And so I'm affecting the people around me in those vibrations. Right? So it's kind of nice. Once you are balanced, you stay balanced with this. It's a lovely method to transforming. If I am on the phone and I'm getting upset because I'm customer service, something went wrong and I'm not getting the answers I want, and I'm on hold and I'm like, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I forgive you, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry. And then someone else picks up the line and all of a sudden everything's fixed. Right? Use this all the time. It won't cost you any money. You just need to apply it all the time. That's all. There's also a prayer. There's also a prayer that the lady who made this available to the rest of the world got a little chastised for getting it out of Hawaii, which is very interesting because you have Don Miguel Cruz that got the 4 agreements out of the Toltec tradition and served it to the world on a golden platter. Then you have Morna Simona that also shared the Hawaiian wisdom with the rest of the world. And then you have Mrs. Takata that shared Reiki with the rest of the world. She got it out of Japan. It's a tendency. Again, not a coincidence. The world is finally ready to understand that we are sharing these beliefs, and the sooner we come to this understanding, the sooner we can all be one. So there's 2 types of prayer that you can use, and these were the prayers that she says if you have something big happening, an issue, right? So can we take your example?
Yep.
Okay. So the issue is kidney stones. Okay? So this is how I would read. And for people on Facebook, I will paste it in the comments, so don't rush trying to find a pen to write this down and going, oh my gosh, I need to write this down. Just listen, okay? YouTube's I will also post it in the comments, so don't worry about it. Spirit, super conscious. Please locate the origin of my feeling and thoughts for my kidney stones and my kidney issue. Take each and every level, layer, area, and aspect of my being to this origin. Analyze it and resolve it perfectly with God's truth. Come through all generation of time and eternity, healing every incident and its appendages based on the origin. Please do it according to God's will until I am in the present filled with the light and truth. God's peace and love, forgiveness for myself, for my incorrect perceptions. Forgiveness of every person, place, circumstances, and event which contributed to these feelings and thoughts. And she says that you just have to bring your problem to your mind when you're, consciously doing this prayer, that you use your own words to describe the situation and you repeat it 4 times. And she recommends to do it by heart. So you have to learn this by heart. Do this often enough, it'll be easy for you to remember. It also says that you should, at least if you're working on a specific issue like this, do a repetition of at least once a day for 30 days, right? So consciously refocusing your energy on the forgiveness of everything that this. So do you need to be consciously aware of what it is? No, you don't. You just need to be, this is the issue I'm working on. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know how it started. But please clear this out of my field. I'm asking for forgiveness for whatever misperception I had that led me to be having this issue. Okay? The other version of this prayer is, Divine Creator, Father, Mother, and Son as one. If I, my family, relatives, and ancestors, I've offended you, your family, relatives, and ancestors in thoughts, words, and deeds, and actions, from the beginning of our creation to the present, we ask for your forgiveness. Let this cleanse, purify, release, and cut all the negative memories, blocks, energies, and vibration, and transmute these unwanted energies into pure light. And it is done. So, if there is a particular person that you want to work with, that you're having a difficult time with, that you want to release the negative bonds, this is a good one to do. This is for yourself, but this is for relationships. Okay? So it's that simple. All right? So now, last week we finished so close to the closing time, hardly any time for questions. So I now open the floor to see if anybody has questions. And Chris, if you get any questions, you read them out for me.
I will.
Okay. So anybody has questions on this? How can you apply this to your life? Do you want an example based on your life? Or what can we make it more clear? Wow, was I that good this week?
Yeah, we're like
We're covering it all.
build it up.
Can we use this method during meditation?
Totally. That's an
Yeah.
excellent meditation. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's different meditations I like to do. There's a whole bunch on YouTube that you can follow me with. But this one is definitely a good method. Because it's easy to remember, and it as you're using it, you're changing your vibration of your body. Excellent question. So for those of you who feel frustrated with meditations because you don't quite know how to do it, you don't think you're doing it right, and you can't clear your mind, it's okay. You can't clear your mind because your mental body is not clear. It's cluttered. And so you can help your mental body to be uncluttered by using this method. So you do sit, and I always like to have candles burning whenever I'm doing anything spiritual to symbolically bring the light, And then I will close my eyes, and I know this by heart. I know the other prayer by heart. I just don't want to mess up on that. You know how it is. You go to say something out loud, and all of a sudden you lose your words. But I use this like regularly, and this is one that I can do while I'm often, like I said, it's instead of just losing my focus while I'm waiting or driving. That's what I'll say while I'm driving or waiting. Your day, your awake time is your time to create. If you don't come up with something to create during that time, then don't waste that time going in the past or in the future. Stay in the present by reciting this. That's a much better use of your time. Because in the here and now, you're raising your vibrations. And then when you're doing that, you're clearing stuff out and you're making yourself a more spiritual being. And you're returning to your spiritual state, which is the original state that you were meant to be in.
Yeah.
Good question. Thank you. Anyone else? You got nothing, Jay?
I don't.
Oh,
Wow.
not
All
this
right.
week. Oh, wow.
Was this good?
Yes.
All right. Good. As long as it was good. You all seem a little tired today.
Yeah.
I seem to be
Kinda
the only
like
one
that.
with energy here.
The energizer bunny.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I did that meditation that we've done before, right? Just for
Yes.
today.
Uh-huh.
And I actually used it on the weekend when I was away with Pina, who
Yes.
you met. And I said to her, we're just going to sit now in this little place that we're at. We're really quiet. We're away from the city. And I said, just for today. And then you say, I will be grateful for. And then you say what you're grateful for. I'll say what I'm grateful for. Just for today, you know, I'll be honest and so on and so forth. And it's actually gone out further now because she's taken that with her. And she said to me today, I was in the car and I was driving. I said, just for today, I will not worry. And I'm not going to worry about my flood in my house. Just for today, I'm going to do. And I was like, wow. And she goes, and then she told her son about it. And it's manifesting, you know what I mean? So you
Exactly.
you
And
pass it
this
on.
is how, some people are like, well, I'm not a teacher. You don't have to be a teacher. You just have to be a practitioner.
Yeah.
If you actually do it, you show others how to do it. And nothing that I do is complicated. My grandmother raised me that life is simple. Thank you very much for that. Life is simple, right? And so therefore, that's the motto for myself. It's simple, right? So why do you worry about it? Has it happened yet? No. And if it's already happened, well then, why are you worrying about it, right? It's very interesting when you keep coming back to, how are you feeling right now, Jane?
Tired.
You're tired, right? So in the now, that's how he feels. We're honoring that,
Yeah.
right? How are you feeling right now?
A little conflicted internally.
Okay, so we need to honor these things and be in the moment and present with that. Okay, so now how can I return to a state of peace? What's going to be the best method for me? So I suggest to both of you right now, ignore me for a minute and just repeat this in your mind. And then I'll go back to you and I want to double check after a few minutes of this how you can actually feel and how you can actually, you know, internalize what's just happening. Because it's that quick.
Wow.
It's that effective.
I did. It just happened because I was looking at that when you were saying it. I'm like, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I forgive you. Thank you. And I'm like, it was all about like I didn't feed myself before I came. Yeah.
You see,
And my body's going,
whenever-
it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll do it later.
And you'll do it soon because
Yeah.
it's almost over, right? So you have to honor that and always return to, okay, well, right now, what's going on? We tend to forget. We can't, oh, I'll do this tonight. I'll take care of this tonight. I'll think about it tonight. And, you know, everything gets put to what's called the parking lot. And then you get home and then more stuff happens and then that completely gets ignored. And that's when you get the headache. And that's when you get all the other stuff that kicks in. Because your mental body's saying, you're ignoring me. You told me all day when we get home, and now we've been home for 3 hours, and now you're going to go to bed, and we're not going to take care of this. That's how it works. Sometimes it's more valuable to actually spend 10 minutes in quiet and going, okay, so today I was thinking about this, thinking about that, I was thinking about this, and I didn't, and make a plan. At the very least, if you can't do it now, assure your mental body, emotional body, physical body, spiritual body, it's my priority for tomorrow morning when I get up. Because I'm like everybody else. I don't always get to do everything, right? It actually happens. And then I have my associate partner, secretary. What's your new title? Assistant?
Yeah, and then assistant.
And then I'm like, okay, so again, what do I need to do, right? And I write it down. And if we don't have a paper, she actually texted it to me, right? So the next morning, first thing I do is I open my phone, I check the text. Call this person, return this, do that. You know, my list is there. And that is my priority before I do anything else. So my 5 bodies know and understand that I am living in a temporal third dimension. And that sometimes it's time for me to unplug and go lay down. But I didn't forget. I'm not ignoring it. I acknowledged it, and I'll get done the next day. Now you feel. You shifted, didn't you? Yeah. How are you feeling?
A bit better. Just there's still some resistance, but the resistance is I've been shifting so much, but there's like this confusion.
Well, yes, but you acknowledge that you already just. And for our viewers and listeners, next week we are talking on Atlantis and Lemuria, our true ancestral origins, and what happened, what debacle did we get ourselves into to get ourselves where we are now. And it's a very interesting, lovely talk. It's one of my favorite topics, so if you think I'm actually energized tonight, you should see me when I talk about that stuff. So I invite you again to either join us through Facebook Live, through the podcast, through YouTube for the video. We'll be again doing YouTube Live, or you can come and join us in person at the Redu Wellness Center. Namaste, everyone. Thank you.
That's just when you were saying, well, thank